story appears ordinary till you see the core side of it.
And what you're looking for is a story behind the news.
We bring it to you from Lagos, the commercial capital of Nigeria.
Giving you all sides and political stories round the clock.
Every detail from the start line to the final whistle.
CoreTV News, expanding your view.
Good evening and happy Independence Day to you. Thank you for joining us on CoreTV Primetime News. I am Nifemi Oguntoye. For the fourth year running, President Goodluck Jonathan on Wednesday celebrated the Independence Day anniversary within the confines of the presidential villa. The brief event witnessed the ceremonial presidential change of guards, which had several top government functionaries in attendance. Pelsheimer now reports on the low-key celebration.
We have gone through quite a few challenges in this country, and we are still going through challenges. Challenges of terrorism, we have had challenges of viral diseases as well, but I think that all in all, throughout everything, the country has managed to stay united. We were children who saw the Civil War and participated in it in the 60s, and to think that we have got to this stage, is a wonderful thing. I think that the government has held strong, the people of Nigeria have remained united, and the progress we are seeing in infrastructure and policies in this country is only to be admired. I do believe that we have another wonderful 54 years to look forward to, and that whatever the case, Nigerians should remember that we are one people and we belong to one nation, no matter the tribe or the religion. We are one people, and united we should stand.
We've done well as a nation. We can do better. What it requires is for us to continue to have the resolve to build our country, to grow our country, resolve to commonly aggress our enemies, commonly rise up against our common problems, and then collectively decide that we can make this country a better country. Nigeria has all the trappings of a nation can be one of the best in the world. Our vegetation, our people, who are very wonderful. So I think by the time we synergize and utilize our strengths, obviously, this is a place everybody wants to be part of.
Prominent Nigerians are, however, divided on whether Nigeria has a lot to celebrate on its 54th Independence Day anniversary. Now, while a cross-section of them told CoreTV News in Abuja that the country has come a long way, there are others who insist that the political environment is not so different from that of the military years.
Our democracy is not working the way we want it. There is no accountability. We want free and fair election. That's the only way we can talk about democracy. Honestly, we will do better if we are properly elected. If you win election and you are off tangent, your constituent will call you to order. But if you don't win and your name is put down and announced in Abuja, you know very well that you are not accountable to the people. We have made some little progress, no doubt, but I believe we should have done much better. So we must do election next year, and properly too, so that if we lose, we go away, and those who win should take over. Honestly, that will guarantee our stability, transform Nigeria from where it is today to a nation that enjoys respectability in the community of nations. To do otherwise is to destroy this country.
The larger portion of Nigerians believe that Nigeria is better as one country. I think, so in terms of unity, we have done very, very well. I think in terms of the economy too, there is progress so far, and but of course we are very bad on corruption, very bad on insecurity. These are challenges that I think we must have sufficient attention. We must provide sufficient government to face these challenges, because if we don't face them squarely, they are going to drown this unity we have.
I believe that Nigeria at 54 has made some progress. If I cast my mind back, because I'm older than 54 years now, I can see that before, the type of roads we used to pass through was very narrow bridges. Schools were not as many as we have them now. And the facilities all around were not as improved as they are. But that is not to say that we measure up to 54 years in terms of development, maturity, and the development of infrastructures. So there are still problems. But most of the problems are problems we have created for ourselves. For instance, if we had peace since this administration came into power and nobody is struggling with anybody, I believe that we would have probably done much more than what is possible now. If the resources that have been put into fighting Boko Haram and struggling for unity, struggling for this security, if we had used all this for internal development, building of schools, building of hospitals, and equipping ourselves in one way or the other, I think our country would have been much better.
President Goodluck Jonathan has again extended the olive branch to insurgents fighting to install an Islamic caliphate in some parts of the country. Jonathan made the offer in his nationwide Independence Day broadcast. He urged those waging war with Nigeria to lay down their arms while calling on anyone with genuine grievances to come forward for dialogue. President Jonathan regretted that despite the achievements of his administration, Nigeria is still in a sober moment. He blamed it on insurgents who have been waging war on the nation. The president also warned all Nigerians to set aside political, sectional, or other parochial considerations and support efforts to check insurgency in the country. In Lagos, Babatunde Fashola, the state governor, says patriotism and renewed dedication to service are needed from all citizens to put Nigeria back on the path of greatness. Fashola made this known at the 54th National Independence Anniversary of the country. Abiola Oluwale was at the parade ground. This report is now presented from our studios.
Even the downpour did not discourage the people from participating in the annual Independence Anniversary in Lagos State. The inspection of the Guard of Honor by Governor Fashola signaled the commencement of the commemoration of Nigeria's Independence Anniversary. The event having taken off, the traditional march past by the police, voluntary organizations and school children followed suit. In a speech at the occasion, Fashola saluted the courage of health workers in containing the spread of the deadly Ebola virus disease in the country. He says renewed dedication to service and patriotism from Nigerians will surely return the glory days of the country.
It does not really matter how little it is. Together it makes a whole. We can serve our country by pledging in our hearts to restore, to share and to protect our communities, our states and our nation. As I have said before, I know that the temptation to focus on our failures and lament our national deficiencies is there. I know that the temptation to compare our achievements with our potentials and conclude that we could have done much better is perhaps inevitable. But I say to you, the Nigerian youth, choose to take on a more positive attitude. It is a choice, and that choice is yours.
Nigerians will be expecting that the message of hope across the country will soon translate to a better life for the masses.
As Nigeria marks the 54th independence anniversary, Ekiti State is also celebrating 18th year anniversary of its creation. Former head of state and APC presidential aspirant Muhammadu Buhari, who commissioned a new pavilion in commemoration of the anniversary, draws attention to a high level of corruption in the country. Let's join Rashid now for details.
It's the 54th anniversary of self-rule in Nigeria and the 18th year of the creation of Ekiti State. The three-in-one events include the country's Independence Day, commissioning of the ultra-modern Ekiti Marapu Pavilion, and presentation of Ekiti State Merit Awards for illustrious sons and daughters of the state. Former head of state and special guest of honor Muhammadu Buhari commissioned the pavilion before settling for the Independence Day ceremony. The occasion also witnessed various march past as the governor inspects the guard of honor. As expected, Buhari seized the opportunity to comment on the state of the nation and slammed the federal government for what he called the slow pace of development across the country.
This nation state Nigeria is in trouble if we carry on the way the ruling party is carrying on. We must, by next year, make sure all eligible Nigerians have got their permanent voters card. I appeal to the elite at all levels to please talk to their constituency. Our voters card is our arm and ammunition against tyranny and bad government.
The recent violence experienced by the state also came up for mentioning as Governor Kayode Fayemi appeals to all to unite and build the state and by extension save the country from what he describes as a riotous situation.
We must celebrate today by joining our hearts and minds in one accord and decide to outgrow the teething challenges of statehood such as the arbitrariness we have witnessed in recent times. Our great country is at crossroads now. We have reached a point whereby something has to give. Either we collectively decide to rescue Nigeria from the precipice, or we all live with the consequences of the riotous tendencies of the few.
Assessing Nigeria at 54, notable Ekiti citizens lament the level of progress and call for purposeful leadership in the country.
Where we should be is not where we are. It is a well-known fact. But more of it is attributed to our political instability in the country for years and failure of leadership, and to a great extent, our lack of technological capacity.
We need a leader who is committed to the development of this country. We need a leader who will consider himself last. We need a leader who will take Nigeria's problem as his priority.
The 1st of October means so many things to so many people. But to the citizens of Nigeria, it is a day that commemorates when we gained our independence. The question that will always be on the lips of Nigerians, be it the government and the governed, in days like this, is how much have we progressed so far since our independence. Rashid, CoreTV News, Ado Ekiti.
And a neighboring Osun State, civil rights activists say the independence celebration is not complete without knowing the whereabouts and subsequent release of the abducted Chibok schoolgirls. The activists in a protest in Osogbo demanded expedite action from the federal government in securing the release of the abducted girls. We'll bring you details of that report later on. Now, at 54th anniversary, either in life of an individual or in the history of a nation, it's a milestone or worthy of celebration. But is there anything really to celebrate in Nigeria's 54 years rather, of Nigeria's political independence? Find out the answer in this special report by Olajumoke Olatuji.
In 1960, Nigeria was a democratic toddler and a government to a coalition of conservative parties, including the Nigerian People's Congress, the party dominated by Northerners, and the Igbo-dominated National Council of Nigeria, and the Cameroons led by Nnamdi Azikiwe, who became Nigeria's maiden Governor-General in 1960. Forming the opposition was the Comparatively Liberal Action Group, which was largely dominated by the Yoruba and led by Obafemi Awolowo. The cultural and political differences among Nigeria's dominant ethnic groups, the Hausa, Igbo and the Yoruba, were sharp. The three ethnic groups traditionally dominated Nigerian politics and controlled its resources. An imbalance was created in the polity by the result of the 1961 plebiscite. The nation parted with its British legacy in 1963 by declaring itself a federal republic with Azikiwe as its first president. When elections were held in 1965, the Nigerian National Democratic Party came to power in Nigeria's western region. As the various groups vied for supremacy in Nigeria's immediate post-colonial period, the military intervened just as they did in other African nations in 1966.
At commencement from the First Republic, we had a powerful parliament because we practiced parliamentary system of government. And you recall that the Midwestern region was created by an act of parliament. Since that time, no democratic government has been able to create any state in Nigeria since the First Republic. So with that, you can see we are not growing. No parliament except military regimes. So taking it from there, the parliament has become weaker and weaker between 1960 and now. It is very difficult for the parliament to take certain decisions now. They consider certain areas of our national life as no-go areas.
Nigeria regained democracy in 1999 when it elected Olusegun Obasanjo, the former military head of state, as the new president of Nigeria, ending almost the 3 years of military rule from 1966 to 1999. This, however, excludes the short-lived Second Republic between 1979 and 1983 by military dictators who seized power in coups and counter-coups. Although the elections brought Obasanjo to power in 1999 and again in 2003 were condemned as unfree and unfair, has Nigeria shown marked improvements in attempts to tackle political instability and hasten developments?
The executive is neck deep in corruption. Today we don't know how much members of the National Assembly are paid. It is still made in controversy, the actual take-home pay. In 1960s, Nigerians knew. Today we don't know. You can see politicians campaign on the basis of stomach infrastructure. It was even there then, but not in this dimension. They were humorous, making jokes, throwing innuendos here and there, but here, when politicians come, we will capture so number of states, and we will deal with anybody. And you see politicians talking in such a manner that they don't have regard for sanctity of human lives. So today the end justifies the means. So we have not really made sufficient progress. We have thoroughly retrogressed.
There is no nation in the world that does not have its own problems. So Nigeria's own problem is not, cannot be said to be strange. You understand? So we're in the process, but the thing is, let us continue to, enlighten the stakeholders on the need to, understand the politics of give and take.
The year 2015 holds so much for Nigeria for a number of reasons. The challenges seem great, but the ability of the people may well be determined again by the sort of leadership they vote for and the paths they follow. But at 54, an election's just around the corner. Could Nigeria fulfill its potentials and become one of the world's biggest success stories? The events leading to the elections of 2015 and those thereafter will surely determine the answers to the question and much more. Olajumoke Olatunji, CoreTV News, Lagos.
You're watching CoreTV Primetime News live from Lagos. We'll take a break now and we'll be back with more stories. Don't go away.
There is an Ebola virus epidemic in some West African countries. The Nigerian government wants you to be aware and watch out against the spread of Ebola in your community. Help keep our country safe and watch out for severe cases of fever, headaches, diarrhea, chest and abdominal pain, sore throat, cough, red eyes and bleeding from the eyes, ears and nose, especially when these symptoms are found in persons coming into Nigeria from other West African countries. Protect yourself. Wash your hands regularly with soap and running water or use a hand sanitizer. Avoid contact with the blood, urine, feces or saliva of animals like bats, monkeys, gorillas, chimpanzees or infected persons. The Ebola virus is deadly. Don't catch it. Don't spread it. This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information.
You can now watch CoreTV News live from anywhere in the world on our website www.coretvnews.com. Click on Live TV on our website and watch us live.
And welcome to CoreTV Primetime News.
To follow us on Twitter, click on Twitter icon on our website. On Facebook, click on the Facebook and YouTube to see all our previous news production. You can also watch us live on YouTube. Click CoreTV, leave a space, then News. CoreTV News, a 24-hour news station.
Rise, oh compatriot, Nigeria, call, obey, to serve our fatherland with love and strength and faith. The laborer, our heroes past, shall never be in vain.
Welcome back. The Adamawa State governorship debate was truncated during the introduction of the participants. The debate had in attendance the Adamawa State acting governor and candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Hamadu Fintiri, candidate of Kowa Party, Dahiru Waziri, and candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Amos Yusuf. The debate was called off when the governorship candidate of Kowa Party, Dahiru Waziri, slumped while he's being introduced. A chaotic situation ensued when organizers made efforts to save the candidate. Dahiru was rushed to the Federal Medical Center, Yola, after receiving first aid. The National Conscience Party has called for a level playing field in the country's political system. The party noted this against subtle campaign by some political parties ahead of the 2015 general elections. Oluwaseyi Adegoke's report is presented from our studios.
As the 2015 general elections approaches, some political parties have started what observers called subtle campaigns for votes for various elective positions. INEC's indifference to the ongoing subtle campaigns in the name of political gatherings has left some parties with the impression that the electoral body is conniving with the big parties to scuttle the electoral law. One of them is the National Conscience Party.
Well, when I say discrimination, you have political parties who have already found themselves in power. They use state security, they use government apparatus, they use public media, all to their advantage, but rather denying the other political parties of the same access. As of today, we know exactly what a National Assembly member makes in a month. 29 million naira. You that even as the electorate, how much can you make in a year? Let's talk about people now contributing to the political party. As I speak to you today, the political parties have been denied funding to survive as an entity, thereby making it difficult. I can tell you that I did mean that the National Conscience Party has a quarter of what these other people have as a political party. This particular square cannot be able to contain us. But it's because the deliberate attempt to reduce the power of the people and making us very, very difficult to perform our right as a political party, these are some of the things that they've made it very difficult for the NCP to triumph.
Southwest Deputy National Chairman of the party, Wahid Lawal, shares the same view with his chairman.
This is Nigeria. Our constitution allows every citizen to partake in the party politicking. But the system doesn't allow the people, the masses, to gain prominence in the running affairs of the country. For instance, the federal government, they are using our resources to further oppress us. And the INEC doesn't even fund other political party that has nobody in the House of Assembly. This is serious discrimination. If the government in power has access to government cover, there should be somewhere who can fund other political party who has nobody in the assembly or in anywhere.
Notable rights activist and member of the party, Abiodun Aremu, says a good political system cannot be achieved without a level playing field for all the parties involved.
And in 1999, only 3 political parties were registered. The Daniel NPP, the PDP, and the AD. Other parties were denied registration. The National Conscience Party maintain and insist that the right to political existence is a legitimate right. And it took a legal victory by Chief Galifana and National Conscience Party to open the door for registration.
Meanwhile, the NCP has condemned the deregistration of political parties by INEC as an anti-democratic stand and called on the electoral body to completely do away with it.
President Goodluck Jonathan has flagged off the Presidential Special Committee on Relief Materials for Internally Displaced Persons and the Safe Schools Initiative in Yola. The president was represented by the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala. Correspondent Martins Dixon has details.
The delegation from the presidency includes the national chairman of the Presidential Special Relief Materials Committee, Sani Sidi, the Minister for Youth Empowerment, Boni Haruna, and the Minister for Women Affairs. Their first point of call was a warehouse where the different types of relief materials purchased were stored. At the internally displaced persons camp in Yola, the Director General of the National Emergency Management Agency, who doubles as the national chairman of the Presidential Special Relief Materials Committee, enumerated the necessity of the intervention by the federal government.
We have recorded a large number of displacements in these 3 states. His Excellency, Mr. President, decided to set up a committee under my chairmanship to look out areas in which the federal government can assist in alleviating the sufferings of the displaced persons in these states.
Adama State Chairman of the Presidential Special Committee on Relief Materials, Salihu Yunusa Belal, says an array of materials that will meet the yearnings of the displaced persons have been put into consideration in an effort to make them comfortable.
We have beddings like mattresses, blankets, nets, mats. We have utensils like buckets, cooking pots, spoons, and so on and so forth, and we have clothing.
While flagging off the distribution, Okonjo-Iweala emphasized the federal government's commitment to end the insurgency.
On behalf of His Excellency, the President, Dr. Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, we want to flag off the distribution of these relief products to you. And we want you to have this with your children and your family. We are here from Abuja, and we want to say that we are with you, we sympathize with you.
The minister also supervised the Safe School initiative for school-age children at the camp.
with a large number of children. There are over 500 children here, and it breaks my heart to see them learning in this condition. And you know, there are also a large number of young girls who ought to be learning. So we're going to try and do something. That's why the president said we should come. We need tents. We need more teachers. Apparently now we have a lot of volunteer teachers right here in Yola, from the AUN and others. All the teachers in there are volunteers, so we don't lack, but we now need to organize ourselves. That's why we wanted to see on the ground. So yeah, we feel pretty bad about it.
The camp in Yola is housing close to 5,000 internally displaced persons from Goza, Michika, Madagali and parts of Mubi local government areas. Martins Dixon, CoreTV News, Yola.
Good, Martins. We'll take a break now and we'll be back with business news. Don't go away.
From time immemorial, women have birthed life, shaped character, and by extension, influenced the society. Moremi of Ife and Moten of Benin, Queen Aminat of Zaria, all women of influence and power.
Whether it's before election, after election.
How ironical. Women being so powerful, yet have few grounds in decision making.
They see you as weak, and I see you as a wife to a man.
We are talking women in politics.
A woman will be bold enough to stand up and say, I want to become president of Nigeria.
Only on CoreTV News.
Rise, oh compatriot, Nigeria, call obey to serve our fatherland with love and strength and faith. The laborer, our heroes past, shall never be in vain.
Thank you for joining us on Business News tonight. I am Frank Omalape. The Nigerian Communications Commission, NCC, on Tuesday said GSM subscribers figure in the country has now reached 130 million. Its Executive Vice Chairman, Engineer Juma, who spoke in Abuja, said the growth has been phenomenal and significant. Juma was represented by the Commission's Director of Public Affairs, Tony Ojobo, says the sector began its journey in 2001 with about 400,000 subscribers, noting that by 2014 the number has increased as 130 million Nigerians now use global GSM for mobile communication. He said in terms of employment opportunities, economic activities and value addition, the nation's gross domestic product GDP, the industry remained at the lead. For her part, Director Consumer Affairs Service Marian B. says the Commission is in partnership with the Consumer Consultative Council, is working on modalities on how to compensate consumers who have been at the receiving ends of poor quality of services from the various service providers. She said NCC is also working together with the service providers to stop unsolicited text messages and unnecessary depletion of the accounts of GSM users by service providers on spurious and unfounded grounds, stressing that NCC had opened consumers' complaints line 622 nationwide for subscribers. The representative and regional director, United Nations Industrial Development Organization, UNIDO, Patrick Komawa, has disclosed that investment flowing into the country between last year and this year's figure has risen to a $6.7 billion mark. Komawa, speaking in Abuja during the inauguration of the Project Advisory Group for Industrial Training Fund and UNIDO Project on National Industrial Skills Gap Study, lamented that in spite of these, unemployment gap kept increasing and that women were worst hit by the scourge. According to Komawa, unemployment rate in 2011, as reported by the Bureau of Statistics in Nigeria, was 23.90% from 5.30% in 2006. He said that one of the reasons for rising unemployment is a mismatch between available skills and the needs of the labor market in general. And finally, tonight, the federal government on Tuesday said it will spend $2 billion, about 320 billion naira, in the building of the new airport terminals and the structuring of old ones over the next 4 years. Minister of Aviation Osita Chidoka in an interview says the federal government is already in talks with the private investors on the issue of setting up a new national airline, which is expected to come on stream within the next 4 years. He says the national carrier, which is expected to tap growth, will be commercially run, adding that conversations are on across many possible private sector organizations, both local airlines in Nigeria and some international airlines. He added that the government is also building 13 cargo airports across the country for the export of perishable agricultural products such as pineapples, mangoes, and tomatoes. Well, and that's all on business news tonight. Sports will be back with Brownson Owana. Join us again.
There is an Ebola virus epidemic in some West African countries. The Nigerian government wants you to be aware and watch out against the spread of Ebola in your community. Help keep our country safe and watch out for severe cases of fever, headaches, diarrhea, chest and abdominal pain, sore throat, cough, red eyes, and bleeding from the eyes, ears, and nose, especially when these symptoms are found in persons coming into Nigeria from other West African countries. Protect yourself. Wash your hands regularly with soap and running water, or use a hand sanitizer. Avoid contact with the blood, urine, feces, or saliva of animals like bats, monkeys, gorillas, chimpanzees, or infected persons. The Ebola virus is deadly. Don't catch it. Don't spread it. This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information.
You can now watch CoreTV News live from anywhere in the world on our website, www.coretvnews.com. Click on Live TV on our website and watch us live.
And welcome to CoreTV Primetime News.
To follow us on Twitter, click on Twitter icon on our website. On Facebook, click on the Facebook and YouTube to see all our previous news production. You can also watch us live on YouTube. Click CoreTV, leave a space, then News. CoreTV News, a 24-hour news station.
Very big thanks for joining us on Sport News tonight. I am Brownson Owana. Reactions has continued to trail the outcome of the Nigerian Football Federation's elections, which saw Amadou Pinnick emerge as the president. Chairman of Giwa FC, Christopher Giwa, said the election in Warri was illegal and vowed to seek justice and fair play. In a statement released earlier today, Giwa, who was purportedly elected as NFF president in what observers tagged as kangaroo elections on August 26 in Abuja, said he was the authentic head of Nigerian football. Giwa said his board was going to meet on October 2nd in Abuja to decide the next line of action. And away from that now to some Super Eagles story. Away from that now, Liverpool manager Brendan Rodgers has told Roy Hodgson that Sturridge will not be fit to play against England. Sturridge has not played since August after suffering a thigh injury during an England training session and did not travel to Switzerland on Wednesday's Champions League game with FC Basel. However, there is a chance he could make his comeback in Saturday's Premier League game against West Bromwich Albion. England boss Roy Hodgson could still call Sturridge in his 23-man squad and conduct a personal test on him. And away from that now to the world of golf, where Northern Irish world #1 Rory McIlroy was named on Wednesday as the PGA Tour Player of the Year for a second time after a stellar 2014 campaign highlighted with 2 trophies. The 25-year-old first landed the coveted honours in 2012 won consecutive majors this season at the Open and PGA Championship, sandwiched around his victory at the WCA Bridgestone Invitational. McIlroy won out over Horsley Martins, Kayman, Jimmy Walker and Bubba Watson in a vote of his pair. He also earned an Anoy Palmer Award as the tour leading official money winner of $8.2 million. Finally, on Sport News tonight, in the world of tennis, four-time champion Novak Djokovic extended his unbeaten run at the China Opens with victory against Canadian Vladislav Poshki in round 3. Djokovic took his record in Beijing to 21-0 as he won 6-3, 7-5 to reach the quarterfinals. The Serb goes on to face 5th seed Grigor Dimitrov or Pablo Jura. In the women's event, 3rd seed Petra Kvitova beat Shuan Peng 6-3, 6-2, while 4th seed Maria Sharapova saw off Carla Suarez Navarro 6-1, 7-6. And that's a wrap on Sport News tonight. My name is Brownson Wana. Very big thanks for watching.
You can now watch CoreTV News live from anywhere in the world on our website www.coretvnews.com. Click on Live TV on our website and watch us live.
And welcome to CoreTV Primetime News.
To follow us on Twitter, click on Twitter icon on our website. On Facebook, click on the Facebook and YouTube to see all our previous news production. You can also watch us live on YouTube. Click CoreTV, leave a space, then News. CoreTV News, a 24-hour news station.
That occupying government buildings if Mr. Leon did not quit by Thursday. Thousands continue to protest on the streets against China's vetting of candidates for 2017's leadership poll. Ex-Governor Chris Patton accused China of reneging on its commitments. The pro-democracy protest continued throughout Wednesday on China's 65th National Day. As evening fell, thousands of demonstrators remained camped out at the main protest sites in the Central Business District, Causeway Bay and Kok, while a fourth site opened on road in Shimshashu, a major shopping district several roads south of Mongkong. Chan Ki-man of the pro-democracy Occupy Central movement, which is also taking part in the protests, urged the students to be peaceful. But he also called on Leon to quit, saying, "We can talk to anyone in the government except him. Resign for the sake of Hong Kong." Well, it's a wrap on CoreTV Primetime News tonight. Thank you for watching. I'm Nifemi Oguntoye. Once again, happy Independence Day to you.